Divine love, light, good health, and longevity to all. I just want to share briefly, Oni Abeni, with you some things to begin to gather, begin to utilize, begin to work in your life to root yourself during and so forth from a death, a transition, a passing of a family member, a friend, a elder, and the likes. First, prayer, deep prayer, and divine meditation is key. Prayer is the art of speaking. So, speaking to those ancestors as often as possible. Um, People may say you're talking to yourself and you look crazy, but I do it. If I know or come across something that reminds me of an ancestor now, or but friend or family, um, or elder, um, from their earthly time, I say, you would have said I didn't do that. You would have said, I begin to have a conversation with them so that I can work through that root connection that we have, so that I can acknowledge them, acknowledge their presence with me at all times, and acknowledge the connection that I know that we have despite the physical connection that we have lost in respect to the spiritual connection that we have truly gained. So I have a connection with them through conversation. If I am in the kitchen and I am working on a great meal that I know that they would love, I begin to have a conversation with them as if they're not as if, but because they're there with me. I start to laugh and cry sometimes because I know that they're with me when I put a little bit too much sugar in something, or a little bit too much of the milk in something, and I'm like, okay, that was a little bit too much. And of course, I'm not using the same ingredients, so we have a conversation about that. Oh, you would have used eggs, but I don't do eggs. But I'm flax seeds, and or I work through the speaking to them, just deep prayer with that being, um, as we would any other time. Even if you were not as close to them on this earthly realm as you may have wanted to be, that which you know that they can relate to, speak to them about. Conversate with them. You begin to see them speak to you about what to do, as if you would have or did have a conversation with them in regards to that situation, or that matter, because they are with you now. So you don't have to call them and be upset with them because they didn't answer the phone, and now you gotta leave a voicemail, and it's gonna take 1,000 years for them to call you back, or they text you back and you really can't say what you want to say in the text. You want them to answer, but they're busy, and life continues to happen. Now you have them at your will, positively. Divine meditation. Divine meditation. Divine is a essence of spirit that is above and beyond what we see daily. That is divine. It is an essence of the Spirit that is just beyond this time, this realm of existence, or even this realm of understanding. Meditation. Meditation is the art of listening. The art of listening. So when you're having that conversation and you have to be quiet for a moment to hear what the ancestor now, friend or family then may say to you, yes, it is out of this world. It is out of this world for you to hear them speak back to you. But it is divine meditation because you are listening to them better than you've ever listened to them before. More than you've ever listened to them before. It is listening to your inner being when it comes to truly making a move, because you have had deep prayer with that being, deep prayer with yourself, and that being or another being of your ancestral line will come to you and give you what you are needing because you are listening, because you are aware of divine meditation. Physically, you can start to gather things that they loved. If you have not created an altar, if you have not set aside a space and place in your home, in your heart, or your mind to go to and envision your ancestors upon, it is a must that you do this definitely after experiencing a transition. Because at that moment, because everyone does not have a place or a space to call their own. That is the reality. But that does not mean that they cannot or shall not have a connection to their spiritual guides. So you can always close your eyes and see a space and place where you have those cigarettes that they loved, or you have those fruit that they loved, or you have that meal that they loved upon, or that scent that they loved, or those earrings that they loved that they ended up giving to you out of the blue from cleaning a space of theirs. And bam, you have those earrings that you've been wanting, but they never gave it to you because they were their favorites as well. But now you have found them, and even if you don't have the space and place to hold and have them, you now have a memory of them that cannot be taken away from you. So you can envision that in which they loved, if they loved a certain type of beverage, if they drank tea, if they drank coffee, you can now envision or vision yourself or those particular items in a space and place to go to and just be with them quietly, no matter what is going on around you. Incense. Though some religions are adamant about or against incense and candles and those things that are in the Old Testament, those things that have been embarked upon by our biblical or other divine text or writings, whether we accept it or not, we can start to remember frankincense and myrrh. You know, those were used in the birth of Jesus and in the offering, Palo Santo. The words themselves transition as holy wood. Why not gather something of that energy with you to connect you to a higher spirit? Why not? Um, Earth, your rocks, your gems, your crystals, water, your libations, and your spirits that can flow with and for those who have transitioned, your air, your breath, that with you, your fire, that within, a tea light, a candle, those things represent the elements that are within you that are also on the other side in the afterlife that our ancestors now and friends and family then acknowledge. Spiritual money, for wealth, that t-shirt. I have a jersey from a great uncle of mine that hangs on my altar. I have a medicine bag that my great great grandmother had. I have recipes. I have the pages of the Bible of all of my ancestors that were gathered and written on in the Bible section that I know everybody remembers because we didn't have birth certificates. We had great 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 grandmothers who kept valuable and vital records of our own. Those were our vital records, our great 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 grandmothers. So I have those things in my memory on my altar, but we can start to gather those things, remember those things. Um, Bathing, spiritually bathing, using our seasons, our seasonings, um, to cleanse our mind, cleanse our thoughts, our sages, our thyme, our rosemary, our eucalyptus, our peppermint, all of those herbs that we use now for preparing a meal that also goes into our temple to perfect our genealogy. We can start to gather those herbs, spiritually bathe, mentally cleanse ourselves, and physically cleanse ourselves of the negativity or the old energy that may be laying dormant about how an ancestor and you got along or didn't get along, can be washed away, can be cleansed away and replenished with those good positive vibrations, because now you are no longer focused on the negativity or the disagreements that you and that ancestor, now family and friend, then had. You can now start to begin to replenish your mental um, thoughts and your mental reservoir on the greatness and the celebration of you all's connection and your roots. If there are not any connections, then begin to speak to your relatives and begin to gather stories of how that person enlightened another person, how that person was strength or endurance to another family member or friend, so that you can start to replenish any disagreeable energies that have been laying dormant or that have been within you, because that's all y'all did was keep turmoil between each other. They have now been transitioned to an afterlife of joy and peace that you can begin to access as well. Now, for those ancestors now, family and friends then, who were completely disagreeable people, and we have those who were completely disagreeable people in your eyes, you do not have to remember them. You do not have to remember that being. Not because you don't appreciate their existence, because they, no matter what, had a purpose on the earthly realm. And their purpose, whatever it was, because some people need disagreeable energy to be able to agree with themselves, who start to become agreeable for themselves. Because when you run across or come across a disagreeable person that is so disagreeable that you begin to start to see the reflection of your disagreeable in them, then you become agreeable. So, or you begin to cast away those disagreeable energy, because now you see what they look like. So every being has a purpose. However, you do not have to remember that being. You can skip that generation, that existence, and move forward to another one, their grandmother, their mother, and start to remember the essence of their being and how they, being agreeable or disagreeable, the likes, brought you into this world. Byproduct or not byproduct of that being that you don't want to remember, it is evident that their existence can or does not have to enlighten or be remembered to be able to give you a positive perspective on life and move forward. So I just want to say, those who have experienced um, turmoil with certain friends or families then, ancestors now, cleanse. Cleanse your mind of that energy by remembering small things. Small things. Maybe it was a shirt that they wore that you really, really liked. Or maybe it was some earrings that they wore that you really like. Or those shoes that they really like. You can find at least 3 things about that person that you may have liked. Begin to focus your energy on that and cleanse and cast away the energy of the disagreeable. Just a small way. But as I stated previously, deep prayer, deep meditation, your candles, your incense, your herbs, your thyme, your sage, your palo santo, your mugwort, your chamomile. Those are peaceful herbs for you to go into a rest stage, to be able to embark on visions and dreams that can give you enlightenment on how to embrace that ancestor now, family and friend, then to be able to begin to walk a more agreeable journey for yourself. Um, Again, visualizing an altar. You know, everybody is not going to have an altar at their disposal, so worry not, fret not. You have a mind that is powerful, and your mind can recreate, destroy, rebuild anything you tell it to. Reading, downloading information, new information, embracing new information also cleanses. Because when you are only exposed to a certain amount of vocabulary or a certain amount of perspectives on life, it will destroy you. It can destroy you. So read, write, You know, when you are going through certain things or you're experiencing certain negative or disagreeable energies from a transitioned elder or transitioned family or friend, write those things out. Reread those things and try to relate or make a correlation between where that could be coming from, why that could be happening. And you must be honest with yourself. Who you cannot lie to is yourself. You can lie to anyone, a friend, you can lie to your mates, you can lie to your children, but you cannot lie to yourself. So that is the reason for you writing something, for you rereading it, not for you to write it, read it, and then share with someone else. No, you go into a deep meditation, a deep prayer, and begin to have a conversation with yourself on where that could come from. Yes, you can ask for, some recommendations or some advice as to how to cleanse the energy once you are aware of it without having to share all of what you have been made aware of. But definitely, it is you that is your most vital resource. It is you that is your most vital resource and source when it comes to the potential of rebuilding, restructuring, or recreating a memory about an ancestor or an elder now or then to be able to move forward in your life. So with that being said, again, deep prayer, deep meditation, writing, reading, things outside of your normal perspective, crystals, gemstones, incense, scents, meals, conversation, embracing other family members, all of those are real ways to overcome or to transition from a transition. I hope my peace of mind have given you and yours a peace of mind. May we all be and stay in good spirits and good health as we journey our separate ways, but still in the presence, in the spiritual presence of each other. Ashe.